Hi guys, my name is Jesslyn and this video is about combining like terms. I do want to go over a few vocabulary words first. So the first vocabulary word is constant. A constant is a number with nothing else attached. It doesn't have a variable. So for example, like the number 5. That can be a constant. It doesn't have a variable or anything. It's just a number with nothing else attached. The number 5. The next one is variable. A variable is a letter that represents some unknown number. So like n. We don't know what n is, but we can say, hey, let's represent a number, some unknown number with a variable with any letter, A through Z. You can represent it. But the most common are like n, x, t sometimes. Then a coefficient. The coefficient is a number that is being multiplied by a variable, or the number that's right outside in front of the variable. That is what you call a coefficient. So the number right outside the variable, it's actually the number being multiplied by the variable if you want to get technical on that term. And then like terms that have the same variable that are raised to the same power. So for example, 3x and 5x are like terms, and so is 2y squared and 3y squared. So these are like terms. So 3x and 5x are like terms, and 2y squared and 3y squared are like terms. Now, 2y squared and just 3y are not like terms. Although they both have a y, it has to be raised to the same power as well. So this has a power of 2, this has a power of 1. So these are not like terms. And it's going to come in handy because you can only combine with addition and subtraction. You can only combine like terms. So, for example, if we want to simplify an expression, for example, if we have 6x plus 2x. So we have 6x plus 2x. We can combine these two because they both have an x and they're both raised to the first power. So we can combine these two. So basically what you do is you just do the operation to the coefficients. The coefficient here is 6, the coefficient here is 2. So really what I'm doing is I'm just adding 6 plus 2. So when I add 6 plus 2, I get 8. And then I just bring whatever variable is with it. If it's an x squared, then I bring the x squared. If it's just an x, like this one, then I just bring the x. So I can combine them, okay? So I combine the coefficients just like normal, and then just bring down whatever the variable, whatever the like term is. So in this case, it does get a little harder if you get more than one operation. So in this case, we have 4 terms here. So 4x plus 3y minus 2y plus 4y. So in this case, we want to combine like terms. Remember, we can only add and subtract like terms. This only goes for addition and subtraction. So like terms. So here's a 4x and here's a 2x. And I want to take the operation that is in front of each one. So I'm going to circle this 2x, I'm going to circle this 4x. This is the front one, so it doesn't have an operation, so we just know it's positive. And then I can combine them. So 4x, whatever the operation is in front of that term, 4x minus 2x. Remember, since they're the same, all we do is do the operations to the coefficients. So that's really 4 minus 2, which is 2x, which is 2. And then you just bring that x with it. So we have 2x. So now we've combined all the x's. So now we want to combine all our y's. I am going to underline my y's. And remember, we take the operation in front of it. So that's a positive 3y plus 4y, because we take the operation in front of it, plus 3y. So a positive 3y plus 4y. So you do it to the coefficients. So that'd be a positive 3 plus 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. Positive 7, so it's plus 7, and then I take the variable, plus 7y. And that's how you combine like terms. Let's do some other ones. Okay, so 3y plus 2 plus 3x minus y plus 5x. So I always start combining them knowing the leading coefficient. So the leading coefficient's y. So I'm looking for all the y's, just y's, no y squared, no y cubed, just y. So here's another y. Remember, take the operation in front of it. I think that's it. I think that's our only other y. So what we're doing here is 3y minus y. Remember, when there's not a coefficient in front of a variable, it's understood as 1. So this is really 1y. So the coefficient here is 1. So if we're doing the operation to the coefficients, 3 minus 1, that would give us 2. And then you just bring down the variable, 2y. So we've done those. So I'm going to mark them out so I know I've done them. Now I'm going to circle everything that's a constant. This doesn't have a variable. Is there anything else that's a constant? Nope. So what I'm going to do is just bring down that plus 2 because there's nothing I can combine it with. And then my x's, plus 3x plus 5x. So I take the operation in front. So this is a positive 3x plus 5x. So positive 3 plus 5, and that's 8. And so 8, and then we just bring down that variable, plus 8x. And we've combined all like terms. Okay, now let's talk about distributive property. Because distributive property, so we have 5, 3n plus 4. So if I want to distribute this 5, remember if it's outside the parentheses, that means we multiply everything by 5 that's in the parentheses. I distribute this 5 to the 3n, and I distribute this 5 to the 4. When we're multiplying with variables, all you do is multiply the coefficients. And if you don't know how to multiply monomials, make sure you go and check out the video exponent properties, okay? You need to check out the video exponent properties if you don't know what to do when multiplying different variables. They do not have to be like terms. But since we can't combine what's in this expression, 3n plus 4, because we can only add and subtract like terms, then we're going to distribute it to make it a little bit more simpler. So 5 times 3 is 15. N, so 15n, 5 times 3n is 15n, and then 5 times 4 is 20. So that is how we distribute it, 15n plus 20, and that would be writing it in simplest terms. Let's do another one. Again, a plug for my exponent properties video. If you don't know how to multiply numbers with variables, go and watch that because it will tell you all the rules. So in this case, we're going to distribute this 4 out first because there's nothing we can combine. We can't combine within the parentheses because that's adding unlike terms. So I'm going to do 4 times 7n and 4 times 2 and take the operation that's in between. 4 times 7n is 28n plus 4 times 2 is just 8. And then I'm going to bring that 6 down, plus 6. Now I see if I can find any like terms. There's no other n's. But I do see that I have 2 constants that have no variables. So that means that they're like terms. I can combine them. Remember, take the operation that's in front. So plus 6 plus 8. So this means positive 8 plus 6. That would be 14. 28n plus 14. Because there's nothing to combine 28 with, so we just bring it down. One more. Okay, we can't combine x plus 1 in the parentheses. Remember, we still have to follow order of operations. So since we can't combine them within the parentheses, I'm going to distribute it out. If you can't combine something in the parentheses, you can distribute it out, and it's still following order of operations. So 6 times x and 6 times 1. Since I'm just going to bring down this 2x, and then 6 times x is 6x. 6 times 1 is positive 6. I take the operation that's in between here, plus 6. Now I see if I can combine anything. I have an x here, and I have an x here. So remember, take the operation in front. 2x plus 6x, so that's 2 plus 6, which is 8x. And then plus 6. So I just added the coefficients and brought the variable down, and then plus 6. I can't do anything anymore. That is how you add and combine like terms. Add and subtract like terms.